We'll be sending an emergency supplemental appropriations bill up next week to the legislature, asking for an additional $40 million as an emergency supplemental appropriation. We want to make sure the Department of Health has all the equipment that they would need. Obviously, there's an international rush now to get the right equipment, the right masks, gowns, gloves, etc. Turns out that China is one of the main manufacturers of this equipment, which obviously makes it a little more complicated and problematic. So we want to make sure we're ahead of the curve on that.
You mentioned PPE and what is on stock. I'm wondering, do hospitals have what they need? And to put a very specific question on it, how many N95 masks does the state estimate that it has, and how many do you estimate that you want or need right now?
Do you want to go?
Please.
Yes, thank you. That's a good question. The hospitals have been working on preparations now for weeks. The governor pointed out that the manufacture of much of these protective gear comes from China, and supplies into the United States will be diminished over a period of time. We do know that and expect that. The resources that we have are significant, though. The state, city, and federal government all have supplies of this type of equipment, which we could draw down through a need basis. So from that standpoint, I think we're not sanguine, but we are comfortable that we have adequate protective gear, because after all, the number one thing that we must protect are our patients and our workers.
Do you want to elaborate on that in terms of the numbers?
We have in the millions. We have an enormous stockpile of masks and PPE equipment.
We are fighting a war on two fronts. We're fighting the virus, and we're fighting fear. In many ways, the fear is more dangerous than the virus. I had a conversation last night with a business person from New York City who I know, who was panicked that New York City was going to be locked down, that there were going to be roadblocks, that there were going to be mandatory quarantine. He was going to be imprisoned in his house. And I said, where did you hear that? Well, that's what they say. That's what I'm hearing. They're saying. And I was saying, look, I would know, right? Because I would have to authorize those actions legally. It's not going to happen. Well, I hear it is going to happen. I said, but I know, but I would have to do it. And I'm telling you, I'm not doing it.